You're watching All 24 News World News Program, and up next are tonight's top stories. Algeria welcomes Mali's ambassador, doubles down on his strong economy with Chad, and lays out a new 3-point peace plan for Africa. France and Spain are burning like never before, hundreds of thousands evacuated, Madrid facing its most dangerous fire ever. Meanwhile, Algeria is fighting dozens of fires across 7 provinces. Tensions escalate. Trump threatens Iran with more strikes. Tehran says it won't back down. Gaza and Lebanon are bombarded by the Zionist occupation, while Saudi Civil Defense gives the all-clear for Yambo and Jazan. Deadly escalation on the Ukrainian-Russia front. Russia reported casualties after Ukrainian strikes. Zelensky warns an attack from Russia is imminent. At the same time, Kiev is working to fast-track a drone deal with the United States. Welcome back. First up in our news tonight, Minister of State and Minister of Foreign Affairs Ahmed Attaf received Malian Ambassador Mohamed Amagadulo following his resumption of duties in Algeria. The meeting focused on strengthening Algerian-Malian relations amid the positive momentum recently witnessed between the two neighboring countries. Minister of Mines and Mining Industry Mourad Hanifi reaffirmed Algeria's commitment to implementing joint mining agreements with Chad. During talks with the Chadian delegation, Hanifi also reaffirmed Algeria's readiness to share its technical expertise in support of stronger bilateral cooperation and a sovereign integrated economy.
This is an important visit indeed, a very important one, and we are confident that it will bear fruit in the future. At the ministerial level, everything has gone extremely well. Bilateral cooperation continues to make steady progress, which is a very positive development for us. We're now further strengthening South-South cooperation in line with the statements of Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune and Marshal Mohamed Idriss Déby Itno. Things are moving in the right direction, and we will continue to advance along this path.
Starting August 1st, Algeria will assume the rotating presidency of the African Union Peace and Security Council. Algeria has prepared a practical program focused on peace, security, conflict resolution, and stronger African solidarity through a series of meetings and consultations. Algeria's ambassador to the African Union, Mohamed Khalid, said the program is built around 3 key priorities to advance peace, security, governance, human rights, and socio-economic development across the continent.
In steadfast alignment with our commitment to Pan-Africanism and to the principle of African solutions to African problems, we have structured this program around 3 major priorities and objectives. 1. To assess the state of peace and security in Africa from various perspectives, with the aim of identifying the continent's key challenges and exploring practical solutions. 2. To address crisis situations, particularly through effective deployment on the ground. 3. To strengthen coordination among the PSC and other African Union organs to enhance the AU's effectiveness in achieving peace and security across the continent.
Higher Education Minister Kamal Badari said the Study in Algeria platform has attracted 1,500 international students from 34 countries. Badari said the results reflect Algeria's efforts to strengthen the international standing of its universities and boost foreign currency revenues.
Study in Algeria. The
Study in Algeria platform and what this initiative has achieved in terms of activities and the revenues it has generated for the state and the national treasury, particularly through foreign currency earnings, as well as enhancing the reputation of Algerian higher education institutions at both the regional and international levels.
Civil Protection said 31 fires broke out across forests, crops, scrubland, palm groves on Saturday up to 1 p.m. Algeria time. Authorities said 19 fires were extinguished, while efforts continue to contain 12 others across 7 provinces. Algeria's defense ministry says army units remain mobilized until the fires are fully contained. It deployed ground forces as well as air force assets, including B-200 firefighting aircraft and Mi-26 helicopters for multiple sorties. Vehicles, bulldozers, tankers, and ambulances were also sent in. Army detachments, especially floating units, have evacuated residents near the fire zone and provided first aid. More than 250,000 people have been evacuated as wildfires continue to rage across France and Spain. French authorities reported nearly 200,000 evacuations, while Spain said about 70,000 people had been forced to leave their homes.
First, on the domestic front, I would like to inform you that as of now, the total area burned stands at just under 98,000 hectares, largely due to the spread of the wildfire in the Gironde region. This is a historic record.
Meanwhile, French Interior Minister Laurent Nunez said wildfires have burned nearly 98,000 hectares across France since the start of the year, calling it the worst wildfire season in the country's history. He said several major fires remain out of control, particularly in the Gironde and Landes regions. Earlier, the European Forest Fire Information System reported that this year's fires had already surpassed France's previous record, set in 2022.
During the night, 57,000 people were evacuated. First of all, I would naturally like to thank the mayors, both of the affected municipality and of the host municipality. I would especially like to thank the mayor of Bordeaux for organizing this evacuation. It is always a complex operation, but it was carried out successfully last night. As previously announced, 57,000 people were evacuated from a number of municipalities that has been listed by the Gironde prefecture.
Similarly, Spanish authorities evacuated more than 63,000 people as wildfires continued to spread near Madrid. Officials warned that the strong winds could further worsen what they described as the worst fires in the region has ever experienced. Thick smoke blanketed western Madrid, while the smell of fire spread across the city center.
En estos momentos está llevando a que en la Comunidad de Madrid
The temperature dropped on Friday, the winds calmed and the humidity increased. Saturday will be difficult as the winds are expected to pick up in the morning. The fires have reached their peak and it is impossible to extinguish them at the moment.
Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez called the firefighting operation near Madrid complex and warned of a difficult hours ahead. Speaking to reporters in a village inside the fire zone, he said the priority is saving lives and protecting populated areas.
We have a crucial opportunity this weekend to bring the wildfire under control, protect lives and nearby communities, and ultimately contain the blaze as much as possible. The coming hours will be challenging. Although temperatures are expected to ease, it remains unclear how the winds will evolve or how strong they will become.
Wildfires continued to rage across Spain and France, forcing thousands of residents and tourists to evacuate. France deployed the army to help battle the blaze, while Spain declared a national state of emergency. Kermisfire has more.
The successive heat waves arriving this year with unprecedented intensity have turned vast regions into ash, with neighboring countries, France and Spain, being among the countries hardest hit. In France, wildfires in the regions of Gironde, Landes and Var have forced around 197,000 people to evacuate since Wednesday as the fires continue to spread.
We're all very anxious about the situation. We just left the house in a hurry. We are with our parents in 2 cars and we are heading up towards L'Espard because apparently there are too many people on the roads over there and we are all very anxious.
In Spain, the situation is equally critical as Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez warns of complex hours ahead, with 2 major wildfires raging across the Madrid region and the neighboring province of Ávila. Together, the fires have already scorched around 45,000 hectares, forcing more than 88,000 people to evacuate.
I saw clouds of smoke rising in the sky. That's when I realized something was happening. I think we all panicked. Then we received the message telling us to get ready.
This crisis has pushed both France and Spain to activate the European Civil Protection Mechanism for extra aerial support and emergency assistance from their partners. With weather conditions expected to remain extreme, firefighters are locked in a race against time to stop the flames from spreading even further.
Switching focus to other news now, Tunisia summoned the French ambassador after a French public television channel aired an interview with a man wanted by Tunisian justice. Tunisian authorities said the interview violated the country's sovereignty, threatened national security, and incited sedition and internal conflict.
Acting on the instructions of President Kais Saied, Tunisia's Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs summoned the French ambassador to deliver a strongly worded protest over a French public television interview with an individual wanted by the Tunisian judiciary. Tunisia said the broadcast violated its sovereignty, targeted its national security and institutions, incited internal unrest, and constituted unacceptable interference in its domestic affairs, accusing the channel of spreading inflammatory falsehoods in breach of journalistic ethics, international law, and diplomatic norms.
Australia's ruling Labour Party reaffirmed its support for the Sahara people's right to self-determination during its National Congress. The party backed UN efforts to organize self-determination in Western Sahara and called for expanding MINURSO's mandate to include monitoring human rights violations by the Moroccan occupation. Moving on to another topical development in the Middle East, diplomacy and the threat of force are unfolding side by side between the United States and Iran, with the United States President Donald Trump saying talks are making progress, but military action is still on the table, while Iran says it won't negotiate under pressure or intimidation. Marobello reports now.
Caught between threats of military escalation and renewed calls for a deal, the region is bracing for deepening uncertainty over where the conflict is headed. Speaking at the White House Correspondents' Dinner on Friday evening, US President Donald Trump said diplomatic talks with Iran were going extremely well, while warning that Washington could intensify military strikes. This comes following earlier threats to widen targets to include Iran's energy plants and bridges, in addition to a ground invasion to seize Iran's oil hub of Karg Island.
Everybody, they said, are you going to stay? I said, yeah, I'll stay. I think I'll stay. What the hell else am I going to do? I've got Iran, I've got this, I've got that, which is all going extremely well. Don't believe the fake news. You know, it's the only thing we were talking before, I said, so we've hit Iran very hard. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. 250 jets, no longer. And by the way, they are talking to us right now. They'd love to make a deal. I don't think they're ready to. I don't think it's time yet, but I'm willing to listen.
On the Iranian side, Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Council of Ministers meeting that Tehran will not succumb to pressures, adding that the core issue was Washington's approach, which he described as bullying and coercive.
We have a principled policy, and we will continue with this principled policy of our own, preserving the interests of the people of Iran, preserving the rights of the people of Iran, and preserving Iran's rights in the Strait of Hormuz. There is currently no problem of mediation between us and the United States. There are mediators, messages are exchanged, and viewpoints reach one another. What is problematic, however, is the approach of the United States, which remains a bullying and coercive approach.
The key waterway of the Strait of Hormuz, the entrance to the Gulf, has so far been the focus of a war that has killed thousands in almost 5 months, stoked global inflation, and fanned fears of an economic downturn. Against this backdrop, maritime traffic through two of the Middle East's most critical choke points has shown starkly contrasting trends, with transits through the Strait of Hormuz plunging, while movements through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait picking up amid increasingly volatile regional security.
Zionist occupation forces carried out demolition and shelling operations targeting homes in several towns across southern Lebanon. The attacks also wounded 2 civil defense paramedics during a rescue mission, while occupation forces destroyed and set fire to homes in continued violation of the ceasefire agreement. 6 Palestinians have been killed and more than 20 others wounded by Zionist occupation fire and airstrikes across the Gaza Strip since Saturday, amid continued ceasefire violations. The latest strikes targeted civilians in Khan Yunis, Gaza City in central Gaza, killing several Palestinians, including the police chief of North Gaza Governorate, and wounding others. Still in occupied Palestine, Zionist occupation forces launched a widespread arrest campaign across the occupied West Bank, detaining at least 80 Palestinians. The Palestinian Prisoners Club said the arrests focused on the town of Tel, west of Nablus, and described them as a part of a policy of collective punishment. It added that more than 3,600 arrests have been recorded in the West Bank since the start of the year. Saudi Civil Defense announced that the danger had passed in Yanbu and Jazan after the early warning system was activated in both provinces. Authorities said the alert was lifted after confirming that the threat had completely ended in both areas. Moving on to Eastern Europe now, Russian officials said Ukrainian attacks killed at least 11 people, including 4 children, at holiday camps in the Russian-controlled part of the Zaporizhia region, accusing Kiev of deliberately targeting civilians. Meanwhile, Moscow said Ukraine launched more than 300 drones across Russia, killing 2 people in the Belgorod region and targeting areas as far as Yekaterinburg, while drones were also intercepted near Moscow. Russian shelling killed and wounded civilians across several regions of Ukraine on Saturday. Ukrainian authorities said 3 people were killed in a large-scale attack on the Sumy region, while drone strikes injured 3 others in Chernihiv. In Donetsk, officials reported 6 people killed and 30 others wounded over the past 24 hours. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky warned that Russia could launch a major missile attack within the next 48 hours, saying Ukrainian intelligence had detected preparations for a large-scale military mobilization. Zelensky called for intensified strikes inside Russia and stronger diplomatic efforts. He also announced expanded drone cooperation with the United States, including plans to establish a production facility and the U.S. using Ukrainian technology. And now let's take a quick look at some more international news stories making headlines today with Zahra Farjani in the News in Brief.
35 people were killed and 30 others injured on Saturday after 2 passenger buses collided between As-Sukhna and Palmyra on the Damascus-Deir ez-Zur highway in the Syrian desert. Syrian authorities said the crash involved a bus carrying members of the internal security forces and the civilian bus. Rescue operations are continuing as emergency teams evacuate casualties from the scene. The number of confirmed Ebola cases in the Democratic Republic of the Congo has risen to 2,973, according to the government figures cited by Reuters. The outbreak has claimed around 1,309 lives as of last Thursday. U.S. President Donald Trump has announced his intention to run for another term in the next presidential election, saying he will once again seek the White House. Speaking at the annual White House Correspondents Association dinner on Friday evening, Trump said he had already taken formal steps towards launching his campaign and expressed confidence in securing another victory.
In sports, Algeria's women national football team will kick off its Women's Africa Cup of Nations campaign against Senegal on Sunday evening in the opening Group A match. The Algerian side is aiming for a winning start in its 7th appearance at the continental tournament, as head coach Farid Benstiti looks to guide the Greens to their first ever African title after reaching the quarter-finals for the first time in the previous edition.
Well, that's all for tonight, but to catch up on any port you missed or get the latest updates, you can always visit our social media platforms. I'm Islam Sid, signing off. Thank you for watching. Good night.